Hello and welcome back to the How I Ripped Off Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast. My name is Chip Thompson and I'm joined, as always, by Mr. MC. Hello.
That would be me.
How are you doing?
Well, how are you?
Fine.
Good.
And this is episode 26. This is High Tide Part 2. What happened last time, MC?
I'll tell you what happened, Chip. I'll tell you what fucking happened. A murder! A murder is what happened, Chip. Where, supposedly, my best friend fucking murdered the thing that was most important to me, MC.
Well, not just your best friends, but your girlfriend as well. Your pregnant girlfriend, Tifa Lockhart.
Who fucking cares about her? You killed my car. The beloved, most important character in the entire series, the Desoto,
while you have a rant about this.
Was... Yeah, and some other stuff. They're on a boat. They're going to England. There was a murder. There's a shifty Italian Captain Birdseye.
That is the most venomous catch-up we've ever had of an episode. Are you going to be antsy for this entire thing?
For the rest of my life.
You need to get over it. It's done now. They pushed the car into the river for some reason.
Did. You wrote them.
Yeah.
Murderer.
I wonder why you hadn't talked to me in a week. But yes, we lost our beloved Desoto.
We did.
Forever gone. We've left Tokyo. Mm-hmm. The mansion's exploded.
Yep.
They're on a boat.
Because why not?
With an Italian stereotype called Captain Parnaby. Mm-hmm. There's also a young girl called Lucy.
There was.
One of which is no doubt committed the murder.
Yeah.
And the gang are investigating another side quest before they get to the actual main fucking point. Shall we see if we actually get there in this episode?
Oh, God, I hope so.
Let's find out. This is High Tide Part 2. As previously on Tamara Gerson. Looking at her old photos helped calm her down in situations like this. It was reassuring that she has at least accomplished something in her life. Tifa checked the pregnancy test again to double check the result. He wore a sailor's hat above his short grey hair and smiled, baring his teeth surrounded by a grey beard. His face told the tale of many voyages. I'm a Captain Parnaby. Up above is a John. If you don't like the smoking, it's probably best to stay away from him. Also better to avoid Chijiri. He's got a stinking cold, but he spends most of his time below deck. Paul is the guy over there painting the ball, and the fellow behind you is Ash. A blood-curdling scream drew both MC's and Tifa's attentions away for a second. It had come from the other side of the ship and was enough to cause a sense of panic over the group of illegal immigrants. They found Chip standing in a room. When he stepped back, a dead body was revealed. The killer can't be too far away, Chip noted.
He's right. Looks like we've got a case.
MC said, standing up. What's your name? Chip asked.
Lucy.
She replied, extending her hand. Hi Lucy, my name's Chip, and I want you to know that I'm the sort of an expert when it comes to these things, and everything is going to be alright. But I do need you to talk to these nice folks to see if they know anything. I'll be around later to check up on you. I get to that. I guess everyone is on edge, what with all the murder and all. When Captain Parnaby was gone, Jay said to Louise,
I don't like that guy.
He was acting a little suspiciously.
A little bit.
The sound of the ship's loud horn awoke MC with a startle. He rubbed his eyes and then the knot in his back. This woke Tifa up too, who was sprawled out over his legs. She also stretched. Why has Tifa turned into a dog?
Well, she was hanging on to MC's feet in the last episode. Now she's sleeping across his legs.
She's slowly working her way up back to forgiveness. She'll be hiding in his belly button next.
My back.
She groaned. Your appreciate not the best conditions for a lady such as yourself to sleep on. Captain Parnaby said, in case you hadn't guessed which character that was Captain Parnaby.
What an unpleasant alarm clock that would be.
Was he just stood there watching them sleep? Or
I do it to all the passengers.
I wasn't going to murder you. This knife is for the spaghetti. He made MC and Tifa jump. Chip was stood behind the captain, obviously tired from the night's patrol. Jane and Louise also made their way over to join the others. Both looked like they had had rough nights. It's always difficult to say had. It's a difficult thing to read. They had rough nights. I need to ask a favour, Parnaby said.
What?
MC inquired as he stood up. I call off the search for the murderer.
You're joking, right?
This isn't suspicious in the slightest, is it? Hey, I don't want you to find that I was the killer. Absolutely not. MC could see Parnaby was deadly serious, especially with that accent. You are scaling the other occupants of the ship. They think there's a killer aboard. Does he work for the Tory government?
I was going to say, yeah.
Oh, there's just a killer disease, but, everyone should go back to work off, so the best thing for it.
It's best not to scare anyone.
Yeah,
that's the real killer.
As long as they stay alert, everything will be fine. There is, Louise stated. Even still, this isn't illegal, as you're aware of, and we don't need that kind of exposure. Yes, the human smugglers don't need that kind of bad press, MC.
Think of the Yelp reviews. 3 stars, very cheap fare, but was murdered.
There's like a Karen sat in the corner. It's like, I'm a Yelp reviewer, so please don't tell me there's been a murder.
How did that happen?
Tifa pointed to Captain Parnaby's white shirt and the blue paint stain across it.
I assumed it was going to be a blood stain.
She's a detective. That could be blood. Who knows? Oh! Parnaby paused for a second. I leant on a barrier that had just been painted.
Good thing they're keeping the ship upkeep even during all the human smuggling and the murders.
I like to think there's just murdered bodies everywhere, but they're just painting over them in the hopes that no one notices.
Captain.
MC moved closer.
We will find whoever is responsible for the crime. We'll tone down the investigation so as not to scare anyone else, but that's it.
I still don't understand why they're willing to tone down the investigation. Like, okay, I get that they're scaring people, but there was a blood-curdling scream in the last episode. Chip and Lucy have already kind of it's been like, oh, did you see who got murdered?
But do they know about the barriers being painted? That's the real scary thing.
I've got a theory. What if it's the ghost of the Desoto come back for revenge?
Fucking right.
MC would just be cheering it on.
Kill him all.
Investigation? Parnaby scoffed. That was an Italian man scoffing.
It was good.
You sound like a professional. Unlike you, Parnaby. None of the gang said anything, but they all wore smirked expressions. Smirked expressions. Wow. Captain Parnaby left the gang alone. Once he was out of earshot, MC gave the orders again.
Right, same as yesterday. Me and Tifa will take the back of the ship. You guys go the other way. It's been an entire night. There could be more bodies.
I'm going to get some kip. Chip said. I'm pretty knackered now.
I thought he was too brooding to sleep.
There must be a point where the lack of sleep through brooding catches up with you, though.
Okay.
But he sleeps during the day because he's
Okay,
deep.
they're still quite broody.
Yeah. The sunlight burns his eyes. Sorry, there's not a paragraph about that or something. Chip sat down on the floor with his head resting on the wall and closed his eyes. The others left in search of more clues.
But he doesn't sleep lying down. He sleeps sitting down, leaning against the wall.
I like to think he's got one knee kind of up and his elbows resting on it and he's just sort of looking down slightly.
A hat over his eyes.
I really hope the entire ship has been painted now, and they're just like, oh no, it's all been painted, all the clues have gone, all this Dulux everywhere. The open deck of the ship wasn't much better than the inside of it, and the cold wind coming off the sea made Louise shiver.
Was it covering her like Velcro?
Yes! Oh, nice callback, well done. Oh, that was... Well, not a good line, but it was very entertaining.
Yeah.
She and Jay had abandoned walking down dark hallways and settled on searching the deck in broad daylight for clues.
It's convenient, isn't it? It's like, let's look on the deck where everyone else is outside and it's really easy to see for all the murders.
Maybe there'll be a clue we missed.
Let's go check the pub for clues. What time is it?
Jay asked. I don't know. I didn't bring my watch. They stopped by the lifeboat and sat down on one. There were no benches around, so it was a choice of that or the wet floor. I don't know why that... How many ships have benches? It's not a cruise liner. It's like, oh, there's no entertainment on board. The bar is closed. There was an awkward silence between the two, but Jay didn't mind. At least they were talking again. He scanned the open part of the boat to see if the killer was standing on the other side with a big flashing neon light that read, I'm the killer, but he doubted it. Jay is a professional.
Judging from the overall quality and believability of this series, I wouldn't be surprised.
In a way, that would almost be a nice twist.
Yeah.
Jay found his gaze moving towards the lifeboats, and he remembered that on a pirate ship, they only had rafts.
You did so much research. You actually spent 3 years as a pirate just to get...
You know what, though?
Yeah.
If pirates had emergency rafts on their ships,
Yeah.
maybe more of them would be alive today.
For only £1 a week, you could give a pirate a raft.
He tucked Louise's coat. He tucked Louise's...
Must mean tugged.
Yeah, but it says tucked.
It does.
He tucked Louise's coat and nodded inside the lifeboat. Oh, what, like he's gesturing towards
I
it?
guess.
Or
It's
he's
like-
like put his head in it, he's tugging on the coat and he's put his head in the lifeboat and he's just nodding away. The listeners won't be able to see, but I actually demonstrated that. And,
It was funny, don't worry. Trust me.
Thank you, just explain
Yeah.
everything I do is funny, thank you.
I think you dropped something.
He said, pointing out the used tissue. You, Louise proclaimed. It's not mine.
Oh yeah, it's probably his.
It took Jay a few minutes to realise that the hand inside the lifeboat, near the tissue, wasn't moving. Have they found a clue in broad daylight? He stood and Louise followed. Jay pulled the blue tarpaulin that was covering the inside of the boat. It revealed another body. Again, one of the stowaways, only this time it had huge chunks ripped out of her flesh.
Does that count as a clue?
Jay asked. But you know what I don't understand, right? So there's a murderer on the ship, right?
Yeah.
Just killing at random, it seems, at the moment.
Sure.
But they're just leaving the bodies lying around when they could literally throw them in the ocean and discard of the evidence.
I feel like they wouldn't immediately get rid of the body, though.
I guess at the first murder, there was a scream and people went running to it. So
Yeah.
that was kind of instantaneous. But if this has happened when everyone else is asleep...
I feel like not enough time has passed between the murder and its discovery for them to do, like, a burial and full funeral service.
No, they're not related. They're just going to throw them in the ocean to get rid of the evidence. It takes
Maybe
3
they
seconds.
want them to
How have you
find
never got
out.
rid of a body at CMC? Jesus.
Steel doors are heavy.
MC decided as he pulled the large door open.
Top detective work, MC. A clue.
So we've got Tifa, who thinks paint is suspicious.
Yeah.
We've got Jay, who's found a dead body with flesh chunks torn out of it and is like, is this a clue? And MC's like, steel doors are heavy.
The crack team is on the case.
Do you ever wonder why they didn't make much money in an investigation service? He and Tifa had gone back to the point they had got to yesterday and continued searching. It was turning out to be pretty much the same. A whole lot of nothing. As MC finally got the door open, he and Tifa walked into the room. He left the door open in case they had to escape quickly. And obviously because this door's so heavy...
Exactly.
Yeah, he can't leave it, closed. It makes sense. He's been smart about this. Do you think Tifa's just rubbing off on everyone? Is this the problem? They've been around Lockhart too long.
God.
She's going to become the intelligent one.
Isn't there a thing about baby brain?
What's this?
I think, I don't know if it's pregnant or like new parents, but it just makes you stupid, basically. I think a combination of just being fucking exhausted all the time. But Tifa has like early onset baby brain. Or is it just that her brain never developed after she was a baby?
I mean, both. Maybe it's both.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got baby brain.
What is the place?
Tifa's baby brain asked.
I think we're at the very bottom of the ship and at the end.
At the end and the bottom of the ship. I visualised the ship in my head perfectly right now.
A sailor's life for me. I say that because the door we came through looks to be the only way out.
Oh boy, they're really on it, aren't they, at the moment? How long have they been at sea? Like, have they got some sort of, like, sea brain or something like that, you know? The room was exactly what MC had just said.
At the very bottom of the ship at the end.
A huge empty room, not that wide, but very tall, with only a few portholes at the very top revealing any views to the outside world. It's all quite clumsy, isn't it, at the moment? Well,
as opposed to the amazing writing in the rest of the episodes. I guess we turn back.
He suggested. As he did, the steel door slammed shut.
Oh no, it's so heavy though.
What could possibly move it? MC ran over to the door and tried to put it open once again, but he felt someone lock it from the other side. Oh my god, maybe it's someone who doesn't want them investigating a murder or something.
Who could that be?
Things got worse as, out of a pip hanging from the ceiling, came a trickle of water.
What room is that? Oh, that's just the murder room. We just murder people in it. Anyone who asks too many questions, we drown them.
We got a leaky pip in there. This trickle turned into a wave, and the wave into a waterfall. Pretty soon, the entire floor was engulfed under a foot of water.
I feel like Captain Barnaby is too obvious a suspect.
Yeah, he's a bit on the money, isn't it? But that doesn't necessarily mean it's not him.
That's right, true.
15-year-old me could have totally thought I was being subtle here.
Hey, I kill people. I like to murder people. It's my favourite hobby.
Do we think flooding the end of the bottom of the boat with water is a bad idea as well? Or
I guess if it's a relatively small room...
I mean, it's very tall.
But it is very narrow. So I think it's fine.
Any sailors listening, get in touch.
That's not good.
MC pointed out as he searched desperately for another exit.
You already established there's no other exit because it's the very bottom and forward end of the ship.
And also MC, again, that's not good. Yeah, okay, we got that, buddy. Yep, no worries. The water was rising faster now and had already reached MC's knees.
There isn't another way, is there?
Tifa asked.
Of course there is.
MC replied, trying to hide any signs of panic.
There always is.
There's something I need to tell you.
Don't do that. Don't stand there and say your goodbyes. Although it is quite ironic that you're going to drown like you drowned my DeSoto, you bitch!
No ad-libbing, stick to the script.
It's not a goodbye. I really do not.
You told me to stick to the script.
Oh, that was a mistake.
It's not a goodbye. I really do not to tell you something.
Tell me when we know we're going to be alive.
MC had looked at the four walls again. Nothing. The water kept rising and was now clutching his waist. That's an accurate description of what water does. It clutches against you. Like Velcro.
What do we do?
Jay said, flustered. Panic? Louise suggested.
No, I've already done that.
Okay, let's just calm down.
Quite like the double team of Jay and Louise.
Yeah, especially when they're not arguing and falling out. It's
Yeah.
quite nice, isn't it? Maybe they'll get their own spin-off.
Ooh.
They don't. Okay, let's just calm down. There's been another murder, but we can't make it public knowledge because we'll have a mad rush on our hands.
All those people rushing to be the next victim or to do a murder themselves. Like, oh, all these victims are going to be used. Is it like stockpiling murders?
Where are they going to rush to? The bottom end of the boat. They can't. It's filling with water and the door's locked. And the door's really heavy.
You're right.
Jay said.
We're just going to have to keep it to ourselves.
Louise and Jay nodded at one another. A massive scream went out behind them.
Went out.
Slowly, the pair turned and saw an elderly refugee woman yelping.
We're leaving Yelp reviews. 2 stars. Didn't even cover up the murder victims properly. When I went on a previous people smuggling boat, they were very good. They just threw the bodies in the sea immediately.
The steel doors are too heavy. Please, calm down, Louise said, waving her hands. Please! But it was no use. The old lady's cries brought out more and more people until it seemed like everyone who was on the ship was looking at the latest dead body. It's like the latest release or something.
What do we do?
Jay asked. Louise shook her head. She didn't know. How could they keep the peace amongst a group of people that didn't even speak the same language as them?
So inconsiderate of them to not even learn to speak English.
There's not a lot of concern for the dead people, is there? There's a lot of sort of like, okay, we need to find this murderer and, okay, we don't want to cause a panic, but no sympathy as to who these people were or, if they've got family on board or nothing like that. It's just, okay, dead body, right,
Well,
what do we do, guys?
Not much we can do about that. Bit late, isn't it?
Chip could feel his eyes sinking into an unconscious state.
I like how he doesn't even say, I didn't fall asleep. I fell into an unconscious state.
No, his eyes did.
Okay, yeah, not the rest of him. He was wide awake, just his eyes.
That's how ninjas sleep, so they're always, alert. That's how we need to get past Corona.
Ah.
Only our eyes can fall into unconscious state and the rest of the body is alert and ready. Chip could feel his eyes sinking into an unconscious state. They felt heavy from the guard duty during the night. He briefly felt he should be helping the others in trying to find the murderer or maybe checking up with his informant, but it had been a long time since he'd slept, and he couldn't remember the last time he'd slept longer than 5 hours.
This is literally you in real life.
No, I'd say about 6 hours is what I am. Yeah. That's what happens when you go evil, you lose an hour of sleep. Chip's dreams were much like his mind during the day, filled with memories of the things he had done, the lives he had destroyed, and the longing thought that his destiny was coming.
Again, much like you in real life. Lives he had destroyed. The Desoto.
I can't... Yeah, okay, fair. I'll let you have that one. Chip was back for a reason. It was highly established, yet others seemed to know more about it than he did. He longed for the day where he could be in peace, even if that meant death again. Even if it meant being evil.
Oh, for fuck's sake. It works out so well for him last time.
I thought he'd gone on some sort of character journey where he, with Evangelina, and he was like, no, I've got to be good now, I've got to help people. Or...
Apparently not.
Well, I guess in a way, he's always been kind of like, with this prophecy that's around, he's always been like, well, guess I might be evil.
Yeah.
So maybe he's just leaning into that a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But if his fate was for the dark side of the Force,
What?
then he wanted to be pure evil.
What?
Okay.
The fuck?
Chip didn't like thinking like that, but last year he had done some evil things. But he wasn't 100% evil.
All he did was try to end the world.
God. Chip didn't like thinking like that. But last year, he had done some evil things, but he wasn't 100% evil. He still had a soul, and deep down, a need to do right.
You even say explicitly that he has a soul. It's just Angel.
Yeah. But surely that's worse, though, isn't it? If you did evil things when you still had the need to do right.
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
way
Like,
worse.
if you're an actual human, not a soulless evil demon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
I don't think you quite understood the whole thing of Angel.
But he heroically sacrificed
Oh,
himself,
there
so
we go.
everything is okay. Chip never liked the dreams where he killed again.
Ooh. Is it a Tyler Durden?
Oh dear. Oh dear. Chip never liked the dreams where he killed again. But in these dreams it was pure, acting without remorse or conscience. Fucking hell, he's got some demons, isn't he?
If he fucking winds up being the killer, can we please just not go like, okay, Chip, but don't do it again?
He hoped behind hope that it wouldn't go down that way. But at the end of the day, Chip didn't have any control over his destiny. He was a confused man.
Well, I mean, it's my destiny. I know I set all those nuns on fire, but it's my destiny. There's nothing I could do. Just nothing I could do. I'm powerless. Yeah, I did kill your grandma, but I mean, I have no control over my destiny.
I'm 100% evil now. It's such a weird one. Like, I can kind of semi-see what I'm going for, how...
In terms of the destiny thing and all that stuff.
Like, he's literally been told this is definitely going to happen one way or another.
Yeah.
So maybe he's, it's weighing on his conscience what he did, and he's like, well, if it's going to be this way, then I want it to be,
He's
no
talking
remorse
about
or-
wanting peace, isn't he?
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
But it's just very badly written.
It is.
But he's hoping behind hope.
That it...
He fell into a deep slumber, praying his previous thoughts wouldn't molest his dreams too. I was trying to write. I was trying so hard to be a writer person. Suddenly, Chip opened his eyes. He folded his head under his shoulders and rolled forwards in time to avoid the charging demon.
Oh, okay, never mind. It's a demon. Okay, cool.
The mysterious creature hit the wall hard and fell backward. Chip got to his feet and steadied himself to avoid any head rush. He looked at the demon that now stood directly opposite him. Oh good, we've got a demon description. These are always fun.
Oh, I like those.
It was red all over except for a green patch over its belly. It had big white eyes that sat on top of its cranium and stared right through you. It had what looked like normal human legs, with the exception they were red, and instead of hands, it had scorpion-like claws that snapped with vicious intentions.
Normal human legs with hands. My legs have hands on them, like just jutting out from the knee. Is this Evangelina? Is this her next evolution?
She's got scorpion claws now. Chip can see any kind of mouth on the creature's rugby ball-shaped head, which meant it would be very quiet. A useful tool for hunting.
It must be related to the one. It's part of the family of demons that have sports equipment-shaped heads.
I like that it doesn't have a mouth, so it's really good at hunting, because everyone that has a mouth just runs after animals going... Its eyes seemed to widen as it lunged at Chip again with its claws. The ninja stopped the first blow by catching the demon's claws and holding them shut. Chip could feel the strength in the demon, and felt it even more when the other claw-like hand swept Chip aside like he was a small child. Is it basically a giant lobster?
Yeah, it seems to be.
Yeah, that's kind of what it sounds like.
I reckon maybe it's one of the crew, like Barnaby's crew, that he doesn't know that well.
Oh, of course, because they were not his normal crew.
Yeah. Are you a demon? No. Good enough.
Are you okay with human smuggling? Back on the ground, Chip could see the demon moving forwards again at incredible speed. As he got back to his feet, the demon used both claws like a battering ram and knocked Chip even further back, landing in a pile of cardboard boxes. Ah, classic. The contents of the boxes spilled out over the floor. Chip noticed fish hooks. He grabbed one and positioned it between his fingers and made a fist.
I feel like you mean very, very, very large fish hooks.
More like a meat hook or something?
Yeah,
or...
well, you get like bailing hooks, I think, are a thing.
Yeah, not the tiny things you put a very small maggot on and try and catch a very small fish with. Chip stayed down this time, knowing if he tried to stand, the demon would only knock him off balance again. When the red demon was close enough, Chip flicked both his legs out, catching the creature in its green stomach and keeping it at bay for a few seconds. How do you flick both legs out?
He's lying down on the ground.
Oh, okay, so he's kind of like nipping up almost into a kick.
Yeah.
Okay. Those few seconds gave Chip the chance to get up, but again, the demon used its quickness to get straight into Chip's face.
It's demon quickness. It's even faster than ninja quickness.
He blocked 2 attempted swings from the demon and sent a snap kick to the demon's knee. Is that where the hands are? It dipped down as its bones snapped, but didn't winch once.
Winch, like, sailors hauling on ropes.
Wince is one of those words I can never spell correctly.
Evidently, yeah.
Chip swiped the demon's face with the fishhook and tore flesh. The red and green demon used its powerful claws to hammer Chip down to the floor, exploding in a rage of power. That's kind of cool. What are you doing? I'm exploding in a rage of power!
In the streets of war! Notorious streets of war.
Chip tried to cover up and avoid a server beating when suddenly the blows stopped.
When all the waiters come out and beat you up.
His internet's going to go down. He stood up and the demon was nowhere to be seen. All that remained was the piece of flesh stuck on the hook. Chip watched in confusions as the red and bloody flesh turned into grey hair. Human hair. And who do we know that's got grey hair, MC?
That other crew member that looked like Captain Barnaby but wasn't.
Exactly. He didn't have a beard, but he looked like him.
Yeah.
Yep, there we go. Solved it. Sorry if you were waiting for the twist to come. The room was now halfway full with water. Things weren't looking good for MC and Tifa as they swam around the room looking for a way out.
What about the door?
Tifa suggested.
No good. You'd never get it open under the pressure of the water.
Also, it's locked.
Yeah.
And a big steel heavy door.
Yeah.
Nice try, Tifa.
So your plan is to let us drown?
Ooh, Tifa snapped, showing a hint of that old cop that MC hadn't seen in a while. What, a dickhead? Like, why is she snapping at him?
God, if you just try harder.
He looked around the room trying to think laterally.
Latterly.
So he was trying to think of what he was thinking of before? Yeah. He smiled as he came up with a plan.
Step 1, let Tifa drown. Step 2, laugh.
Step 3, new Desoto.
Oh my God.
Tifa said, covering her mouth with her hand.
You are gonna let us die.
What? How is she...
Because she said, so your plan is to let us drown, and then MC smiled. And then she was like, yep.
So this man that she's known for a long time and been in a relationship with, she's like, oh, that
always
means...
had my suspicions that he wanted us to drown. He like, we watch Titanic all the time.
That baby brain is really affecting her.
No, I'm not. Just answer me one question. Can you swim?
They are literally swimming around a room right now. It was established just a few seconds ago. Tifa looked slightly confused and worried, but she nodded anyway. MC grabbed her hand and they waited for the water to fill the room. Very soon they were floating and headed towards the ceiling.
We won't have much time to do this, so be ready.
The water was coming in quicker, and it wasn't long until MC and Tifa could reach the top of the room. The former police detective struggled to stay afloat, but MC made sure he hung on to her hand tightly.
Get ready to take a very deep breath,
he said. MC swam over to the side of the room, and Tifa followed. He used his elbow to bash one of the porthole windows.
Now!
MC yelled. He and Tifa breathed deeply as MC opened the window with one more crack from his elbow. The room was full up completely now, but MC and Tifa were able to escape through the porthole. How big are portholes?
Big enough for...
a human person.
I guess it depends on the porthole.
I guess so. Yeah. And if it's the bottom of the ship, is it not underwater? I guess that's why they're holding their breath. Is they going to swim up?
I think it's already underwater because of the bottom of the ship, but then why would you have an underwater porthole?
That's quite high in the ceiling.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't think I ever looked into like how boats are.
You're like, what is a boat? All right, that's enough. Floaty thing made of metal. Cool, got it.
MC held Tifa's hand all the way as they swam from the bottom of the boat to the water surface. They both let out panicked breaths as the air came back to their lungs. Also, isn't the boat moving? So
slowly, I guess. It's all the murders. It's sort of weighing it down.
MC reached for the rope that was tied to the side of the ship and pulled himself and Tifa up. Having two hands again was very handy.
Hey.
Once back on deck, MC could see that Louise and Jay were having some problems with the other refugees. They offered their assistance when Jay pointed out the body lying in the lifeboat.
We found this,
Jay said, holding up the tissue.
I like how that's the clue. Not the dead body, it's the tissue.
Tifa, using her fluent Japanese language skills, managed to clear the deck of the refugees and off the deck. Wait, she managed to clear the deck of the refugees and off the deck. So she... What?
Huh.
So she's cleared the deck off the refugees, but also off the deck.
So she's taken the deck And the refugees off the deck.
She's taken the deck down to the bottom end of the boat.
But that's filled with water and you can't open the door because it's really heavy.
And there's a big hole in it now.
Yeah.
This is all going to go really well. Also, does this... You know, was it last week we were wondering if Tifa was white or Japanese or...
I mean, presumably to be a member of the Tokyo Police Force, you need to be able to speak Japanese.
Yeah. So she's using her fluent Japanese language skills, but she doesn't... It doesn't seem to indicate that's her native language.
Well, I guess if it is your native language, you would be fluent.
Would you describe it as having fluent Japanese language skills? Like, would you describe yourself as having fluent English language skills?
I don't think Tifa knows what fluent means.
She's actually just
thinks,
speaking gibberish.
I had the fluent once. I had lots of honey and lemon and chicken soup, and I felt okay after a couple of weeks.
Now get rid of this deck. What did you say to them? Louise asked. Tifa's like, no idea.
I just said this was a police matter and that we would handle it. As long as you seem professional, people will often believe it.
Where have you been?
Jay looked at the soaking MC and Tifa.
Trying to get my car back. It's a long story.
MC replied,
but I think we've all got our suspicions as to who the murderer is.
Well, whoever it is, Chip pronounced as he joined the others, it ain't human. I was attacked by a demon, no less. He showed them the mysterious flesh that had turned into grey hair. Another killing? Chip looked into the lifeboat and placed his head into his hands. What's wrong? Louise asked. I know this girl. She spoke some English and I asked her to do some snooping for me.
Oh no.
Lucy, that was her name.
Yeah. You complete idiot!
MC snapped.
What were you thinking? Putting an innocent girl at risk like that?
I didn't... It's just... She could speak a few languages. I thought she might be able to help.
Now she's dead.
Guys,
Tifa intercepted.
we need to focus on finding this demon thing.
I'm guessing it can take human form, Louise suggested. And all signs point to Captain Parnaby.
No, it's definitely Lucy. She's faking it.
The gang arched their necks and peered up at the steering tower where the captain spent most of the day.
I like to think it's just a big featureless tower with a ship's wheel on top.
Again, my boat research coming in here. MC marched up to the steel steps that led up to the tower. The others followed him.
I wonder if the portcullis is drawn or not.
Well, so, I mean, it's poor Chip again. I know, you know, evil son of a bitch and heroic sacrifice, blah, 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 blah. But, like, he's having all these, like, horrible feelings and, you know, I was like, oh, maybe I should just go evil, but, you know. And then he's like, oh, this 16-year-old girl I tried to help us is now dead. Fantastic. Just add that to his conscience, shall we? Inside, the first thing they saw was Captain Parnaby draped over the steering wheel. He was dead. Thank God for that, no more accent. His blood was mixed in with a lot of blue paint.
It was blue paint. Blue paint did it.
Wait, why was it... Wait, the blood in his body? Or is he, like, leaning over a tin or something?
It was a can of blue paint that did it.
Who's doing this? Louise demanded to know. MC thought for a second and thought he'd solved the mystery.
Come with me,
he said. He went back down the stairs and onto the deck where the captain's small crew was waiting. MC stood in front of them and turned his attention to his group.
I like how you're doing the bit where, like, the detective gathers everyone in the drawing room and goes through the clues.
This was 18 years before I'd seen Knives Out as well.
Then all the lights go out. Let's run down the clues we have. The first body we found had cigarette burns in it and someone heard sneezing. Then Chip fought that demon and pulled off some flesh, which was, in fact, grey hair.
MC started to pace up and down. Nice, classic.
The second body inside the lifeboat had a used tissue next to it. Now, we all assumed it was the captain because of the way he was acting. But where did all that blue paint come from? I'll tell you.
I'm curious myself. MC grabbed the crew member named Paul and snapped his neck.
That was like, oh
God.
Whoops. Okay, well, process of elimination is not that guy.
You'd have to be so certain that you'd figured out this mystery, wouldn't you? There's no room for error here. MC grabbed the crew member named Paul and snapped his neck. Paul's human body hit the floor and turned into the red and green demon, just like the one Chip had been fighting. The other crew members started opened mouth at MC. I think that's stared. I think that's meant to be stared.
What? Yeah.
Yeah. So, well done, MC. You were right.
Yeah.
If he had any doubts at that point...
At the grey hair on the hook, this guy.
MC snapped the neck of Ash, the grey-haired member of the crew.
I feel like the rest of the crew are backing away at this point.
This is kind of taking a slight detour from the whole detective solving the crime at the end, isn't it? MC snapped the neck of Ash, the grey-haired member of the crew. He died and turned into the same demon. Before the remaining 2 demons could turn into their stronger form, Chip had already caught on to what MC had been saying and had killed Tajiri, the guy who had a cold.
I mean, there was a tissue there. Obviously, it's him.
Wait, how did he know Ash because of the... Oh, because of the grey hair. That's why Ash is dead. Right, okay.
Yeah.
So I kind of, peppered these little clues in.
You did.
I'm semi-proud of idiot 15-year-old me at this point.
And it's a good twist having a bunch of them.
Yeah, he tried.
Yeah.
I tried.
Yeah.
I should stop making him a different person because it was me. All that remained was John, the heavy smoke of the group. He turned into his demon self, but despite the fact he was a lot quicker and stronger now, Louise, Tifa and Jay all bundled it over the side of the ship. The demon hit the water and frantically started to wave its arms. Unable to use its claw-like hands to swim, the demon started to drown, slowly.
There's no creatures with claws that are able to survive underwater.
Well, they were scorpion claws, MC, not
That's
lobster
true,
claws.
that's true.
If it was lobster claws, which are totally different from scorpion claws...
They're more water dynamic. Hydrodynamic, is that a word?
They're basically 2 paddles, right?
Now that was cool.
Jay said once it was all over.
I like how the rest of the gang got to kill something.
Yeah, they would just sort of bundle it over the wall like a big strong demon.
Get it.
Yeah. Just sort of bully it.
Get his lunch money.
So how did you know? Louise asked MC as they sat in bottom part of the boat.
The bottom front part.
No, that's flooded. It's got to be the bottom back part.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah, that's where they are.
It was pretty easy, actually. Just looked at the signs. Those guys never said anything. Plus, they were really stupid and left those vital clues. But I think it was the blue paint that tipped the scale. The first demon I killed was painting when we came aboard.
Ah.
What?
So they must have been painting blue at the time? I mean, that doesn't really explain why Barnaby was covered in paint as well.
Was the first demon he killed that was painting? Oh, okay. He meant when it was a human, in its human form.
Yeah, the Paul, who his neck snapped in.
Right, okay.
He must have been, when they got on the ship, he must have been painting.
And Paul was just continually painting, including painting over the dead captain's body.
Well, he painted over the live captain's body because he had blue paint on him at one point. Maybe he just leant against a painted wall or something.
He likes painting. It's his thing.
Yeah.
He likes killing people and he likes painting things blue. That's what he does.
Brilliant deduction. But what if you'd been wrong? MC didn't want to even think about that. He was like, oh yeah, I could have been wrong. He had been angry with Chip when his negligence had gotten people killed. Not just this time, but now he had guessed work his way to solving the case and found 2 refugees who spoke English and insisted they could steer the ship to England. My God, that was a long sentence. Oh God, there's a lot to pick out from that.
I feel like MC is just avoiding the thought of what would have happened if he had been wrong. And it's like, yeah, I guess I could have been wrong. But refugees, Prince Tourist to England, great, everything's solved, no problem.
And I mean, last time none of the refugees spoke English apart from Lucy, who's now dead.
Yeah.
But now they found 2 more that do speak English, and they can steer a ship to England. They can navigate as well.
That would never happen.
MC trotted off to find Tifa.
La 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 la, I am perfect.
Chip watched the sunset from the end of the ship and listened to his thoughts. Oh dear. Mm-hmm. They were telling him he deserved to feel like this. He had lost so many people connected to him in the past few years. His family, Shinno-kan twice, his vampire brother Scoot. If it says Scott, but he's always going to be Scoot.
Hello, bro. I like to think at that moment he hears this sort of echo in the back of his mind. Hello, bro.
There's like Force ghosts appear behind him when he's saying a line. They were telling him he deserved to feel like this. He had lost so many people connected to him in the past few years. His family, Shinno-kan twice, his vampire brother Scott, Evangelina, and his friends. Even his informant on the ship had died because of him. The very reason he had turned evil, was because of his failure to grieve and move on from all that heartache he faced every day as a ninja from his own pain and others.
It's the first step of grieving. Step 1, turn evil. Step 2, denial. Step 3...
Well, no, he hadn't grieved, so that's why he turned evil. So
okay,
if you
right.
don't deal with your grief, you go evil.
It's like step 0.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Gotcha.
He had had these exact thoughts before he'd gone evil, only this time it was different. Rather than telling himself to ignore the pain and bury it, he forced himself to feel it. Chip realised it was the only way to deal and move on. He knew there were other ways, but at that precise moment, he didn't want them. However, he would never rule out the options.
Like therapy?
Yeah, is he ruling out the option of turning evil? Is that what's...
I think he's saying that he's not ruling out. He doesn't want it at the moment, but he's not going to rule it out, plan B.
It's almost like I was 15 years old and trying to write about complicated emotions and was just like, oh no, he turned evil. Evil? Is he going to turn evil? What about turning evil?
Can we talk now?
Tifa said as she had her back turned to MC.
Sure. It's been a long day and I want nothing more than just to be alone with you.
We're not alone.
Tifa replied.
What do you mean?
Tifa turned to face MC and lifted her shirt, revealing a lump where her belly should have been.
I'm pregnant.
And that's the end of High Tide Part 2.
And the end of MC and Tifa's relationship.
Well, how about that bombshell, MC?
Yeah.
Tifa's lifted her shirt, revealing a lump where her belly used to be. I understand how pregnancy works.
Baby lump. I think my main worry is that in the series MC is going to be happy, and obviously I'm an amazing actor, but I don't think I can actually convey that.
Well, I mean, I faced this issue when Chip was murdering people.
You're
it's
like,
the same
how
thing.
do you hide how pleased you are about it and how much you enjoy it? You have to pretend to be all conflicted.
Because, obviously when I first wrote this as a 14-year-old when I started, it was a joke and it was like, hey, it's me and you as crime-fighting supernatural ninjas, But these characters have kind of evolved into their own thing, I don't actually have a brother called Scott, you've never knocked up Tifa Lockhart, as far as I'm aware.
Wow.
So I think, you just need to separate yourself from the character at this point, and just, you are playing the role of MC, just has the same name as you. So I think, just don't be all bitter and angry when you do deliver those happy lines.
I mean, there's still the psychological trauma of the Desoto to deal with. Like, Desoto last episode... No, one before.
You really need to grieve that, or else you're going to turn evil.
Oh, no!
Oh, no. But do we think Tifa's picked the right time here?
I guess she's tried so many times before, and there's always been something else, so maybe she's like, fuck it, I'm like, however many weeks or months pregnant, might as well do it.
Well, yeah, if her belly's disappeared and been replaced by a lump, then I guess she had to, really.
The third stage of pregnancy. Stage 1, turn evil.
But is this going to affect MC? They're on their way to England to confront Harato and Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, is he going to pull out of the plan? Like he should have pulled out of Tifa.
But it may affect him in terms of, his mindset, and he's going to be more protective over Tifa.
True.
Maybe they should have left her in Tokyo, but then they couldn't leave her alone with the SWAT that
What
were
if
around.
Harato got Tifa pregnant to distract MC?
That does sound like him.
Yeah.
Also, that opens up a very icky connotations to the rest of the story.
I mean, maybe he poked holes in the condoms or swapped to birth control or something.
Yes, that's much better. Let's go with that. Yeah. Well, if you have any theories about how Harato got Tifa pregnant, there's numerous ways in which you can get in touch with us. You can find us at Facebook, where we're at facebook.com/HowIRippedOffPodcast.
We are also on Twitter at HowIRippedOff.
And if you want to know the entire journey as to how we got to on this boat with two refugees who just happened to be able to steer a boat to England, you can find our entire back catalogue on SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, iTunes and YouTube.
And please leave us a 5-star Yelp review.
Karen.
As it helps us a lot.
It does.
And we can cash it in for trips on illegal people smuggling journeys.
And, all the characters, most of the characters at the moment are having a bit of a hard time, none more so than Chip, dealing with all these demons. And now MC's got to deal with a baby and they've got to save the world and stuff like that. But we are dealing with our own kind of semi-apocalypse at the moment. At least it can feel that way a lot of the time. And if you are struggling or you are not doing very well at this time, please do reach out to those people that care about you and love you, because they will help you in any way that they can. And if you don't feel like you can reach out to those people and you want to reach out to some weird podcast, you can message us. We will talk to you about anything and everything, and just make sure you're looking after yourselves and you're staying happy and well.